Hi friends, I am Caitlin Workman and welcome to my YouTube channel where I encourage and empower other entrepreneurs. I'm so excited that you are here today. We are talking about creating a great client experience, a killer client experience, right? Because we all want to provide a service that people rave about, right? You're doing what you're doing because you want to serve people no matter what your job is, right? You should want them to have a great experience, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a wedding planner, whether you're a baker, whatever you're doing, you want your clients to leave feeling like you did a great job at the end of the day, right? That's the goal for everyone. So, why is it important to have a great client experience? Obviously, it matters for your clients. Duh. You want your clients to have a great experience, right? You want them to leave and to say, wow, Caitlin Workman took care of me. The Caitlin Workman experience was exactly what I expected it to be, right? And also, it matters for you, right? If you want to continue doing your job, you need to have clients that rave about you. Create super fans, right? You want your clients to leave at the end of the day and say, "You have to book Caitlin Workman, or you have to go to this bakery. You have to have them because they are the absolute best." Because of the experience that you gave those clients. Okay, so now that we know why it's important, I'm going to share 3 steps for ways that you can up your client experience game today. Okay, so the number one thing is to communicate well. This sounds obvious, but a lot of people struggle with this. So, communicating well does not mean being available 24/7. I think if you are an entrepreneur, it can be really draining to feel like you have to constantly be on and constantly be checking your email, which I admit I do way too often. But you have to just communicate well with your clients. And that might mean saying, I am available Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 4, and that's when I'm available for communication, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You have to set those boundaries for yourself. The problem comes when you tell them you're going to be available 24/7 and then you're not, and you're missing calls and you're missing emails and you're just not communicating back and forth. So, the first thing you can do to have a better client experience is just to make sure that you're communicating well, communicate professionally, and communicate kindly. If there is an issue that someone is having, take care of it in a professional way and just treat everyone with kindness. I think that if you just treat others how you want to be treated in your business, you'll be amazed at how your business will thrive. So that's your first step, is to communicate well, and a great thing to remember is to set those boundaries and to communicate those boundaries to your clients. Let them know when you're going to be available. Let them know when you are going to get back to them, and follow through with what you tell them. It is so much better to say, I'll get back to you on Friday, and then actually get back to them on Thursday, than to say, I'll get back to you on Friday, and then to get sick and to not meet that deadline and get back to them the next week. So make sure that you're communicating and you are following through with what you're telling them, right? So I think that's the biggest problem that people have with their client experience a lot of times, is just saying they're going to do something and then not being able to fulfill what they say. So make sure that you're communicating well, communicating honestly, and following through with what you're communicating. Second, create a workflow. Okay, so this can look like a workflow in your CRM, something like HoneyBook. If you have not tried HoneyBook, you can use my link here and get 20% off your first year. That's how I keep track of all of my workflows, and I'm learning even more about HoneyBook. I'm adding even more workflows right now. I actually hired an integrator recently, and she is adding even more. She's just making things even easier. So if you guys want to see a video on some things that she is doing for me in HoneyBook to make it run even smoother, let me know in the comments and I will do that for you. But you can create a workflow anywhere. You can do it on HoneyBook and you can automate things so that emails are sent out and your templates are sent out and things like that. Or you can literally just use a checklist. You can use a piece of paper and a pencil, and you can jot things down, whatever works best for you. You could have a notebook with each client in there and check off as you do things. It really doesn't matter. Just have some place where your workflow is written out so that you can make sure that each client gets that same experience. Make sure that you're communicating well and taking care of them and throughout that entire workflow. And make sure that you're taking care of them from start to finish. One thing at the beginning of my workflow is that with every client, they inquire first, right? Before they book, I get an inquiry from them. Something that I make sure that I do is respond really quickly to that inquiry, and I respond personally to that inquiry. And I can do a separate video talking you through how I respond to inquiries and all that stuff. But even from the very beginning of their workflow, I make sure that they have a great experience and feel very taken care of, because that's really important to me. Create a workflow, create some kind of checklist for each client, whether that's on paper, whether that's in HoneyBook, whether that's in an Excel sheet, if you like that kind of thing. However you want to do it, just make sure that step 2, you create a workflow that you can put your clients in to make sure that they get a great experience every single time. And 3, over deliver. I think that this can be taken too far. For example, as a photographer, there are photographers who say, okay, you're paying for 5 digital images, and then you give them 45. Like, that's a little bit much, and they should probably be paying you for the extra time. But make sure that you over deliver, right? And you can surprise your clients. Something that I do that helps with all of these steps is I give them the Wedding Experience magazine, right? So this communicates well with my clients. It gives them all kinds of different things like timeline tips and engagement session times, It's just a lot of communication up front so that they don't have to ask me questions every other day, because they see all of this stuff in there. And it kind of shows them what the workflow is. It shows them what to expect with their engagement session and their wedding day and all of those things. And they get this beautiful magazine as a gift in the mail. And so that surprises them, right? They don't know that they're getting that unless they've just seen other brides. But that's just a little surprise, right? I bring a little baggie for them on wedding days that has water and a little card from us and snacks and things like that. And those are just like little things that cost me maybe $5. But my love language is gifts. I'm not saying that you have to buy gifts for every client, depending on what industry you work in or what your job is. But those are just little things that I can do to surprise my client. So maybe do a brainstorm of your client and what things you could add to your client experience, just little things to kind of surprise them and over deliver, so that when you're finished, they just rave about you. You create raving fans. And just surprise them, just love them well. These are basically just all tips on how to better serve and how to better love your clients. So just a little recap. Client experience is very important so that you're serving your clients well, and also to create referrals to keep your business going. You can do this by communicating well and making sure that you set those boundaries, creating a workflow. And if you need some way to create a workflow, make sure that you download HoneyBook. And my link right here will get you 20% off your first year. So make sure that you use that link, because we both get money back for our business when you use that link. And 3, make sure that you are over delivering. You find some little way to just surprise your clients or over deliver what you said that you were going to deliver to create raving fans. And that way you get more referrals and your business grows and you get to serve even more clients. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you can add this to your client experience in some way, and let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments.